Hello everyone! Today I'm going to be discussing 5 unique ways to save money on travel, because who doesn't love to travel and who doesn't love to save money, am I right? Now, if you do a quick Google search on how to save money for travel, you'll probably tend to get a lot of the same results. They'll tell you to book your flight on a Tuesday, search for flights in incognito mode, or get yourself a travel rewards card. Now, while these are really good ways to save money, I have some other tips and tricks and some other websites that you might not have heard of, a lot of which have ended up saving me a lot of money and also a lot of stress. So let's get started. So you've obviously heard of websites like Cheapo Air or Kayak for finding cheap flights, but I think the one website that doesn't get enough recognition is Kiwi.com. I have used this website myself to book flights on several occasions, and every single time I've managed to find the cheapest prices on this website. Now, while most other flight search engines will try to book your entire flight with one airline, Kiwi will instead look at all of the cheapest possible routes, even if they have to stick you on 2 different flights with 2 separate airlines. For example, if I want to fly from Portland to London, they might take me from Portland to San Francisco with United, and then San Francisco to London with Norwegian Air. And then on the way back, it might be something completely different. And in order to give you some peace of mind, they do have you covered for any flight delays, cancellations, or schedule changes. Personally, I have never run into any issues, but it's always nice to know just in case something were to happen. While we are on the topic of cheap transportation, another website that might end up saving you some money is blahblahcard. I have not used this website myself, but I do know some people that have, and I think it's kind of a cool concept. Basically, it's like Uber, but for longer distances and at a cheaper price. Or I guess you could say it's like long distance carpooling that you pay for. This is currently only available in the UK and other parts of Europe. So it's something you may want to consider if you're looking to do a day trip somewhere, but you don't want to pay a lot of money for a train ticket. So how it works is really straightforward. All you do is go to the website, obviously, and then you type in where you are leaving from, where you're going, and on which date, and then it'll give you a list of other people that are also driving to that location, and it'll tell you how much they're charging for a spot in their car. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. This sounds like it could easily lead to some sketchy and possibly dangerous situations, especially for all you females out there, but just know that all of the drivers' IDs and profiles are verified, and the even better part is that they do have a ladies only feature, which obviously, as you can guess, allows you to search through only the female drivers. So keep this website in mind if you're down to ride with a stranger for a few hours in order to save some money. Now on to affordable accommodation. Personally, I am not much of a hostel person. I have stayed in my fair share of them and have had some not so great experiences, one of which included me getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, only to step on a drunk dude that was just passed out in the middle of the floor. You may have also heard of couch surfing, which allows you to stay with people around the world for free. I have done this 2 times before, and both times I had great experiences. However, it can kind of be a challenge sometimes to find hosts that, number 1, you actually want to stay with, and number 2, that are actually available to host you on the dates that you are going to be in a certain place. But I recently discovered a few websites that allow you to actually house sit for people and take care of their pets while they are away, or do a house swap. Personally, I thought house swapping was just a concept made up in one of my favorite Christmas movies, The Holiday. But anyway, there are several different websites where you can do this, but 2 of the most popular seem to be Trusted House Sitters and Love Home Swap. Both of them do have membership fees, so Trusted House Sitters is around $100 for a year, and Love Home Swap starts at $20 a month after your 2-week free trial. So if you are someone that travels pretty frequently, then I think these membership fees would definitely be worth it. So my next tip is to buy the right suitcase. This tip may not seem super significant or like a big deal at all, but if you ever find yourself traveling with a budget airline like EasyJet or Ryanair, this tip will definitely come in handy because it definitely has for me. If you don't already know, EasyJet and Ryanair are two of the most popular budget airlines around Europe that offer like really cheap flights. But if you're not careful, these airlines can really try and squeeze some extra money out of you. Allow me to explain. On their website, these airlines both say that you are allowed to take one personal item and one carry-on item on the airplane for free. But in reality, that rule really only applies when the flight isn't super full, which rarely happens. So then the airline staff will go through the queue of people waiting to show their boarding passes, and they'll say, "Sorry, we're only allowing one piece of luggage on board today. We're gonna have to ask you to combine your two bags, or you're gonna have to pay for your extra bag," which like immediately causes everyone to panic. Hi, just wanted to add a quick edit here because apparently it's been a minute since I've flown with EasyJet or Ryanair. I guess they changed the rules slightly so that you have to automatically pay if you want to take more than one bag, but regardless, I think this rule is still useful, so let's continue. That is where having the right suitcase comes in handy. If you have one of those hard shell suitcases, it's probably going to be a little bit more difficult to cram extra stuff in there, but if you get yourself a suitcase like this, it's going to be 10 times easier. And no matter what, I've always managed to fit this thing even in the smallest of overhead bins, simply because of the fact that you can really easily squish this thing down if you need to. This one in particular is from Nautica, but I'm sure there are plenty of other suitcases just like it out there, so it's definitely worth doing some research. Now, I'm just gonna add a little side note here and say that there have definitely been a few times where I have managed to completely disregard the times where the airlines ask you to combine your two bags. Like, I'll just take off my jacket or my coat and I'll somehow manage to hide my extra personal item in it, and I'll just sneak right on the airplane with my suitcase, and then of course, once I get on board, there's always like more than enough room in the overhead bins. So I kind of feel like this is legitimately just a way for these airlines to squeeze as much money out of you as they possibly can. But you know what? I'm gonna let it slide because the cheap flights are definitely worth the struggle. And finally, tip number 5 is another little hack that might help you find cheaper flights, and that is to install a VPN, or a virtual private network, on your browser. Basically, having a VPN installed on your browser will allow you to mask your IP address to make it seem like you're in a different location, which is sort of like a step up from searching for flights in private mode or just clearing your cookies. So why might you want to try this out? Well, a lot of times you might actually be shown a higher or a lower price based on your location and your IP address. So someone searching for a flight in, say, California might be shown a different price than someone in Canada, even if they're looking at the exact same flight. Now, this is another one that I haven't actually tried out myself. However, number 1, I think is a really good idea, and I can't believe I never thought of it before. But number 2, I know that VPNs can actually be a pretty useful thing to have anyway. I actually used to use the free VPN called Ola so that I could watch American Netflix while I was abroad. Because, believe it or not, there was one point where the UK Netflix didn't have The Office. It was a tragedy. So there you have it, my 5 unique tips for saving money on travel. I will leave all of the links to the websites that I mentioned down below, and hopefully you found some of these useful. Hopefully you used some of these tips to save yourself some extra money on your next trip. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!